The desert wind howled across the cracked asphalt of the abandoned airstrip, kicking up dust devils that danced like ghosts in the fading light of dusk. Sergeant First Class Elena Vasquez knelt in the center of the tarmac, her hands zip-tied behind her back, her face streaked with blood and sweat. 20 feet away, a nervous recruit no older than 19 leveled an M4 rifle at her skull, his finger trembling on the trigger. "Do it!" barked the man behind him, a smug warlord wannabe in knockoff tactical gear who thought he'd finally broken the unbreakable. The kid's eyes were wide, pupils dilated with fear and adrenaline, but Elena's gaze was ice-cold steel. She didn't flinch. She didn't beg. She just stared straight down the barrel and whispered something so low only the wind heard it. And in that moment, the recruit realized he'd made the worst mistake of his life. Hey, if you're ready for a story that'll keep you glued to the screen until the very last second, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this one's about to get wild. The recruit's name was Tyler Brooks, a farm boy from Iowa who joined the private contractor outfit for college money and a little adventure. He'd been told Elena Vasquez was just another captured asset, a washed-up soldier who'd stumbled into the wrong part of the Syrian border. The warlord, a local smuggler named Karim al-Dari who'd styled himself a militia commander, wanted her eliminated to send a message. Tyler had never killed anyone before. His hand shook so badly the rifle's front sight wobbled like a metronome. "I said do it!" Karim snarled again, stepping closer, his own pistol drawn. Tyler swallowed hard, tried to steady his breathing the way they'd taught him in training, but Elena's eyes, those dark, unblinking eyes, locked onto his, and he saw something that turned his blood to ice. Recognition. Not of him, but of what he was about to become. She tilted her head ever so slightly, the faintest smirk curling the corner of her split lip, and mouthed 2 words, "Your choice." 3 days earlier, Elena had been tracking a ghost. The mission was off the books, blacker than black, the kind of op that didn't exist on any server or in any briefing room. She'd left her official Army Special Forces tab behind years ago after a botched raid in Afghanistan, left her team dead and her career in ashes. The brass called it friendly fire. Elena called it betrayal. She'd spent the last 5 years in the shadows, hunting the men who sold American lives for oil pipelines and political favors. Her latest target, a data broker named Marcus Hale, a former CIA case officer turned mercenary middleman who'd been feeding intel to Karim's network. Hale had vanished into the borderlands between Syria and Iraq, and Elena was the only one crazy enough to follow. She moved like a predator, low and silent through the night, her suppressed HK-416 slung tight across her chest. The safe house was a crumbling concrete bunker outside a village that hadn't seen electricity in months. Elena breached the door with a flashbang, took down 2 guards before they could scream, and found Hale hunched over a laptop, his face illuminated by the glow of encrypted files. "Evening, Marcus," she said, her voice calm as a graveyard. He spun around, eyes wide, hands up. "Vasquez? Jesus, they said you were dead." She zip-tied him to a chair and started downloading the drive. That's when the trap sprang. Karim's men poured in from every direction, a dozen fighters with AKs and RPGs. Elena fought like a demon, dropping 4 before a rifle butt cracked against her temple and the world went black. She woke up in the back of a pickup truck, hands bound, head throbbing, bouncing over desert tracks toward the airstrip. Karim sat across from her, smoking a cigarette, grinning like he'd won the lottery. "You know how much your head is worth, Sergeant?" he asked in accented English. "More than this hole." "Village." Elena tested the zip ties, felt the plastic bite into her wrists. "You're making a mistake," she said quietly. Karim laughed, flicked ash onto her boots. "No, you made the mistake coming here alone." But Elena wasn't alone. Not really. She never was. Back at the airstrip, Tyler's finger tightened on the trigger. The wind screamed louder, carrying the distant thud of rotors, helicopter blades slicing the night. Karim looked up, confused. "What is that?" Tyler didn't know, but Elena did. She'd activated a beacon the second they'd taken her rifle. a subdermal tracker implanted after Afghanistan, tied to a private network of veterans who'd sworn never to leave another soldier behind. The chopper crested the ridge, a blacked-out little bird with no markings, miniguns spinning up. Karim shouted orders, his men scrambling for cover, but it was too late. Hell rained down in controlled bursts, precise, surgical, the way only Delta Force could deliver. Tyler dropped the rifle and ran, but Elena was already moving. The zip ties snapped. She'd been working a hidden razor blade between her fingers for hours, and she rolled behind a rusted fuel drum as tracers lit up the night. The little bird touched down long enough for 3 figures to fast rope out, ghosts in plate carriers and night vision. One of them, a tall woman with a scar across her cheek, tossed Elena her rifle. "Took you long enough, Reyes," Elena shouted over the chaos. "Traffic!" Reyes yelled back, already engaging targets. Karim bolted for a technical mounted with a DSK, screaming into a radio, but Elena was faster. She sprinted across the tarmac, vaulted onto the truck bed, and drove her car-bar through the gunner's neck before he could swing the barrel around. Karim spun, pistol raised, but Elena was inside his guard, twisting the gun from his hand and slamming her forehead into his nose. Cartilage crunched. He staggered back, blood pouring, and she kicked him in the chest, sending him sprawling. "You should have listened," she said, zip-tying his wrists with his own cuffs. The gunfire died down as quickly as it started. Karim's men lay dead or dying, the airstrip a graveyard of smoke and brass. Tyler cowered behind a crate, hands over his head. Elena walked over, picked up his dropped M4 and ejected the magazine. "First time?" she asked. He nodded, tears cutting tracks through the dust on his face. "Good," she said. "Don't let there be a second." The chopper lifted off, Elena and her team aboard, Karim trussed up in the back like cargo. Reyes handed her a satellite phone. "Hale's talking," she said. "Says the betrayal in Afghanistan wasn't an accident. Higher-ups wanted your team gone to cover a weapons deal." Elena stared out the window at the desert sliding away below, her reflection ghosted over the moonlight. "Then we're not done," she whispered. The beacon in her arm pulsed once, a silent vow. She'd burn the whole network to the ground if she had to. Weeks later, Tyler sat in a debrief room in Qatar, staring at his hands. The contractors had cut him loose, called it a training mishap, but he knew the truth. He'd almost executed an American hero. The guilt gnawed at him like a wolf. Then one day, an envelope arrived, no return address. Inside was a single photograph, Elena Vasquez standing over Karim in cuffs, her eyes staring straight into the camera. On the back, handwritten, "You chose right, now choose better." Tyler enlisted in the army the next week. Basic training was hell, but every time he wanted to quit, he thought of those eyes, that whisper in the wind. Elena's war continued in the shadows. She took down Hale's handlers one by one, a general in Virginia, a diplomat in Brussels, a banker in Dubai. Each time she left no trace, just a calling card, a spent .556 casing engraved with a name. The network crumbled, but the cost was steep. Reyes took a round in Mosul. Another teammate vanished in Yemen. Elena kept going, a lone wolf with a pack of ghosts at her back. She didn't sleep much anymore. When she did, she dreamed of the airstrip, of Tyler's trembling finger, of the moment she chose not to beg. One night in a safe house in Jordan, she got a call. Satellite uplink, encrypted. The voice on the other end was familiar, older, broken. "Elena, it's Tyler." She sat up, heart pounding. "How did you—" "Doesn't matter," he said. "I'm with the 75th now, got your 6, always." She smiled for the first time in months. "Copy that, Ranger." The line went dead, but the silence felt different. Lighter. Years passed. Elena retired, or tried to. She bought a small ranch in Montana, raised horses, taught self-defense to veterans with PTSD. The nightmares still came, but so did the letters. From Tyler, now a staff sergeant leading his own team. From Reyes's daughter, thanking her for the stories. From strangers who'd heard whispers of the woman who couldn't be broken. One day, a young recruit showed up at her gate, nervous, holding a rifle case. Ma'am, I heard you teach. I don't want to be the guy who points a gun at the wrong person. Elena looked at him, saw Tyler's eyes in a new face, and nodded. Then let's begin. The desert wind still howls in her memory, but now it carries something else. Not fear, not rage, purpose. Elena Vasquez never begged for her life that night on the airstrip. She didn't need to. She'd already lived it, fought for it, bled for it. And in the end, the recruit who aimed a rifle at her skull didn't pull the trigger. He chose to remember why some lines should never be crossed, because some veterans don't just survive the fire, they become it. And that's the story of Sergeant First Class Elena Vasquez, the Special Forces legend who turned a death sentence into a reckoning. If this story hit you in the chest the way it was meant to, drop a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and let me know in the comments, from which part of the country are you watching this video?